What's up? I'm Mr. Second Passport, and today we're going to take a look at 3 things you probably don't know about Ecuador during the COVID pandemic. 3 things that haven't really made it into the international news. I follow international news and I haven't seen it there. One time I saw Ecuador come out in the international news, and it was about early April when the pandemic was hitting really hard, and there were bodies in the streets supposedly in Guayaquil. Um, I'm not going to comment on that too much because I live in Quito, the other big city in Ecuador, so I don't know too much about what happened in Guayaquil. Um, so I don't know about that, but there are 3 other things here that maybe you haven't heard of, and that you probably haven't heard if you follow other blogs about living and investing in Ecuador, or YouTube channels or Facebook groups or whatever. But I don't really give a shit. The total cases, as the world knows, um, are right reasonable with other South American countries, not too outstanding, you could say, or attention getting, which is maybe what the country of Ecuador wants. 101,000 confirmed cases and 6,000 or so confirmed deaths of COVID. This is what the world knows according to Google and Wikipedia as of a few days ago. Um, but right? The first thing you should know is the actual death count in Ecuador over these 5 months of the pandemic has been inexplicably way higher than normal. This gray here in March, April, May, June, July is what 2019 was. Ecuador averages about 6,000 deaths a month, pretty steady. And just in April alone, there was almost 20,000 deaths, right? So 13, almost 14,000 unexplained. March had over 3,000 alone, about 3,000 unexplained deaths. Same with May, June, and July. It's not really going down much either as of now, but hopefully it will start soon. As the total, and these numbers are according to El Comercio, one of, if not the biggest newspapers in locally here in Ecuador. 25,000 Ecuador registers over 25,000 unusual deaths, unexplained deaths, more than the average in the first 5 months of the pandemic. So as you can see, the official numbers are 6,000, but the real number is probably way higher. So that's the first secret you should know about the COVID in Ecuador. The second COVID secret of Ecuador is that there has been widespread, enormous amounts of corruption in the hospital buying departments uh, during this pandemic. Just people going crazy, buying a pencil for 5,000 bucks, stuff like that. You know what I mean? For instance, but someone should make a movie about this stuff. It's really interesting if you follow it. An Israeli was arrested here in Ecuador, linked to an ex-president, Bucaram of Ecuador, whose son was involved in a hospital buying incident with this Israeli, and the Israeli was arrested along with his Israeli friend, and they were attacked in the hospital here, and the main one was killed. Why were they attacked? They were summoned to testify in the case against this ex-president's son. So, I mean, it's pretty interesting stuff. Uh, in another case of hospital corruption, this hospital executive was fleeing Guayaquil for Peru, and they already made it to Peru in this private jet, and it crashed. One of the pilots was killed. The other pilot just ran away in the middle of the Peruvian desert. And on the plane, and the implicated guy in the case was actually apprehended, injured, and not killed. And on the plane, his girlfriend, was this ex-Miss Ecuador. So again, pretty interesting stuff made for the big screen, I'm sure. But all this corruption, and I can tell living here, um, there's still quite a bit of. I know Ecuador is really fighting it, but there's still quite a bit of corruption with any official, not just elected, but anyone with a little bit of power. I don't know. They might be corrupt. The third COVID secret of Ecuador, not particularly prideful or anything, but if you look at the developed countries' death rate, like the US, of confirmed cases, 5.5 million, 171,000 deaths, it's about three confirmed death, 3% from this pandemic, right? If you just divide it out from these numbers widely available in Google. And that's about what I'm seeing most developed countries have, right? About a 3% confirmed death rate. It's probably a lot less if you count all the asymptomatic people, but you know, whatever, that's what the confirmed rate is. On the other hand, Ecuador's confirmed death rate is a lot higher. Illustrated by this graph, made available by El Comercio, local paper, uh, we can see even one province, right, entering August, uh, data as of 11th of August. If you got sick with the COVID, you had an over 50% chance of dying, 1 in 2, right? And that's Santa Elena. That's that southern province of Salinas where most of us foreigners like to hang out. 1 in 2, right? This green bar here is the confirmed case of COVID deaths, which is 28% in Santa Elena province. But if you combine the confirmed cases and the possibles and the probables, you'd have almost a 52%. So the real rate's probably somewhere in between here of death rate, right, from this COVID pandemic. Now the other provinces are doing a lot better, but the overall national rate is what I want you to focus on here. It's still about 2 to 3 times higher than even the U.S. As you can see here, with an 11% death rate nationwide, if you add up the confirmed deaths, confirmed COVID deaths, and the probables, you're looking at 11%. The confirmed COVID rate, 6.9% of death rate of people who got COVID have died. So as you can see, it's about double the US 3% to somewhere maybe triple. So something to keep in mind if you maybe have diabetes or high blood pressure or one of these things that makes you a higher risk person to having complications due to this illness. Now, my personal experience, as you can see here by the graph, the people I know in Guayaquil, everyone in Guayaquil knows someone who has died from COVID, right? It got hit really hard. But where I live in Quito, I don't know anyone, including myself. And I've had contact with a ton of people over these 5 months due to working at my hotel here near the Quito airport. So I don't know. I haven't met anyone that has even caught the disease that I know of. Three things to keep in mind about the COVID disaster as it applies to Ecuador. Three things you probably haven't heard in the international news. Anyway, I'm Mr. Second Passport. Tomorrow I've got an amazing deal on a property, so stay tuned for that. And don't forget to subscribe. I'm Mr. Second Passport. I'll talk to you later.